Hello everyone. It is finally time. We are back for MRL action. My name is Stryfium, and joining me for the Tier 2 Japanese Grand Prix, it's round 6, Unicorn. It's time for some racing.
Yes, Jeff, absolutely. It's great to be here for Suzuka once again. Such an interesting, such an iconic track here in Japan, of course. And well, we'll see just how Tier 2 takes it on tonight, but it's already provided a lot of interesting action over the course of the first half of the week. Obviously, we've got Tier 2 tonight, Tier 1 tomorrow. 27 laps. It doesn't sound like a lot, but well, it certainly feels like a lot for these drivers when you've got so much action going on through these 18 corners.
Yeah, 18 corners, figure 8 circuit configuration. Of course, we come through here for round 6. Next week, we go to another very iconic circuit, Britain. We're going to Silverstone. We're going to your backyard, if you will. We're going to your home Grand Prix. Following that, Azerbaijan, Hungary, Singapore, a very difficult circuit. 23 turns there to navigate, and that will be round 10 before another break week. And then we move through to France, Spain, Austria, the penultimate round in Mexico, and then the finale in Brazil. With that, well, we take a look at the standings here in this Tier 2 division. Things are very tight. Now, you might not think so, given Dason into a very comfortable lead of things with 101 points up at the top. But Dougie Falcons and the Yagsoul, they're in a different dynamic entirely. Only 5 points separating these two. And you can see Sindako 20 points behind there. No Carlman not too far off of him. And Azir, Kai, Titan, Protogo, all in very close proximity of one another. You have Yoda there as well, however, he is absent today. Adezi and some ties there. You have Lando's Milkman and Jake. They're tied for 9 points each. Vincent Nyqvist and Psycho, 8 points each. Williams leading this Constructors' Championship, 125 points. Aston Martin with 66. Dougie Falcons doing some major lifting over there. And it's Red Bull with 60. So we'll have to see how things unravel here coming through into the 6th round of contention. But with that said, we're just about ready to go racing here in Japan. We're just getting all of our racers dialed in and readied up and ready to go into 18 minutes of qualifying, a roll of the dice for weather as well, and 27 lap campaign through Suzuka. Notably, if you did not catch the Americas Tier 1 race last night, I commentated that with Seb. I have to say, it is a very, very serious bid for Race of the Year, or at the very least, the Race of the Year in the division. It was a Japanese Grand Prix like no other, as it was very, very slick. And I say that because it was wet conditions with slick compound tires. We saw softs, mediums, hards. We even saw drivers attempt intermediate runs. We saw multiple safety cars. We saw so much intensity. The championship leader in the race was DSQ'd on the opening lap. The driver who was in running for that title slot, or that running position at the top of the standings, even took a drive-through penalty and had to pull a Lewis Hamilton drive like Silverstone that we saw recently, where he went to the back and had to fight all the way through again. So we saw some stellar driving through Suzuka this week, and I can't say enough about what this circuit really provides, not only the racers, but us as spectators as well, through all the races that we've seen this week.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting on one more person before we get everyone ready up. I think actually maybe we have everyone in the lobby. I think we're waiting on one person to join mid qualifying. But with that being said, I think we've got everyone else. So we'll get everyone, like you said, readied up and into that 18-minute qualifying session here at Suzuka, which, about a minute and a half lap time, very sort of average lap time over the F1 calendar. Doesn't give you too much time for mistakes around the lap. So we'll see how everyone goes about their business, and I expect most people will be qualifying on the soft compound tire as well. We've seen that, but we did see a couple of sort of glimpses of medium runs throughout the rest of the week. So we'll see what everyone decides to do, but soft for the most part to be expected.
There is a prediction going in the chat. Will Dason take back-to-back pole position? Things are swaying heavily. 93% in favor of Dason. Get in on that, and that's very cool to see.
Well, you look at the driver's standings, and you can see why there's that level of backing for him, and he's been very, very successful up until this point. 3 race wins to his name. Of course, that's out of a potential 5, of which he scored a podium in 4 races. So definitely the one to beat here in Tier 2.
101 points at the top of that standings, no doubt. Could be a back-to-back pole position, to say the least. We have some Tier 3 drivers joining us on the grid today. We have a variety of reserves in place, and we'll go through the grid with you in just a few moments' time, as we have 5 seconds before we jump into the loadings screen for this campaign.
Yeah, like I said, we are expecting at least one driver to join mid-qualifying, so there will be one more driver added to the grid as we go, and it's pouring it down with rain here in qualifying, Chef. I would say that is full wet conditions. That's what the game has set everyone to. And well, this throws a spanner in the works instantly.
I'm thrilled about the amount of rain that we have seen this week. We have seen rain in now 4 of 5 races in some capacity here this week in Suzuka for round 6 MRL racing. Now we have full wet conditions in the qualifying session. Those guys there on the right hand side, you can see the marshals, the boys I call them. They're getting absolutely soaked with the amount of rain coming down right now. They should honestly simulate some umbrellas for these guys if they've got to be standing there. I just want to throw that in just for some light humor. But we are going to have 18 minutes of qualifying, and we'll have to see what these drivers do with the 18 minutes. That I don't think things are going to lighten up at all.
Yeah, unless we see intermediate conditions come out at some point in the session, then everyone is going to have to qualify in these full wet conditions, and well, that does pose a bit of a problem for everyone. And well, I hope we get a weather forecast at some point, because well, if it's dry in the race, you don't want to be out on a full wet setup here, as we have our first cars coming out of the garage now. I think it's Azir who will be first to take on the wet conditions, and I should think part of the delay, obviously, probably partly due to the desync that we've had in previous runnings, where our clock is slightly different to everyone else's, but also just maybe relaying to the engineers that they've got what the conditions they're expecting are, maybe making some last minute changes to the setups if they didn't already have a full wet setup produced. I think Suzuka, probably one of those tracks where you do create a full wet setup just in case, because like you said, we've had a lot of rain here. It is one of these tracks where you expect at least some sort of rain, a high chance of it. So not surprised if we have as we've had our first incident, I think, of the inning. Trixam, yeah, he is in the grass, so we're already having a thrills and spills as a result of the rain. And well, that means that Azir is obviously still leading things, and behind him is the Williams, and that is championship leader Dayson. So we'll see what the pair of these guys have got, and whether Dayson wants to get through. I know a lot of people, confident that he will take pole again, but we'll see what he can do here in the wet, whether we've got a wet weather specialist shift that might just sort of come out from nowhere.
Well, that is one thing. You can never really count on the conditions, and you come into this race and there could very well be a wet weather specialist. Azir pushing through 130R, getting off the throttle a bit as he comes into the Casio triangle. Final 3-section turn.
And here he goes. Obviously no DRS for him. It's the only section of track where it would be enabled, but obviously with the conditions we've got, we won't be seeing that rear wing pop open on the Avatar. But down into turn 1, taking a very wide angle through there, opening up turn 2, and you usually carry as much speed through there as possible. But here in the wet conditions, you just want to get through unscathed, of course, as the AlphaTauri now pushes through. The S is losing the rear a little bit, but nothing too bad given the conditions. You've got to give these drivers all a little bit of slack. They would have been practicing at least today, you would expect, in the dry, as he runs a little wide on the entrance to the Dunlop curve. But again, still very much keeping the car under control, and as well keeping the lap valid is the most important thing. Degnar curves coming through, the pair of them very, very nicely. Now up towards the hairpin, there is a whole host of standing water here across the hairpin at different points. But again, not causing Azir too many troubles. Probably would have wanted to come out of that at a slightly different angle. But again, putting the power down well now, flat coming through turn 12 all the way down towards Spoon. Now this catches people out in the dry a lot of times. Does it catch Azir out here in the wet? Uses the curb on the outside in between 13 and 14 a little bit. Uses the curb on the outside of 14 too. But again, doesn't unsettle the car. Keeps his lap going as he flies down towards Sector 3, the final part of the lap. 130R. It would usually be flat, and he's going to try it. He's gone very, very wide here. Miraculously, still valid for him. He definitely crossed the grass there, but the game doesn't think he's gained time by doing so. And well, I'm impressed he kept his foot in that. Now, usually you'd see everyone hug the inside wall here. He looks like he might be going for another run with this angle. A 140.998 opens us up. Where does Dayson go? Well, he's only got for a 141.8. So he is a whole, or almost a second off of Azir's time, and won't be too thrilled about that, I'm sure.
Dougie pushing in the Aston Martin. We have Genji coming through. Vincent Nyqvist. The Ferraris are looking quick. A 40.637 out of the Swedish driver. Very nice run from Vincent Nyqvist, and we'll see who else can come and put some times through in this very dynamic qualifying session. Pro to go. Kai, 40.394 coming out of the Alfa Romeo camp. Very solid run there. The Jagsol, that 40.748. Sindako, very nice run coming out of the Haas as well.
Yeah, Psycho's just gone sixth quickest at 141.2, and we'll see what everyone else can do, as that's Yaya going third fastest at 140.712. The other Mercedes of Noel Carlman, well, he'll fire himself just ahead of the AlphaTauri at 140.658, just shy of Vincent's lap time. Right now, though, Kai, 2.5 tenths clear up at the top. He'll be very happy with how that's gone for him in that Alfa Romeo. 22 points for his name, the highest person in the standings without a podium. And right now, the wet weather seeming to favor him, although it is still coming down. It doesn't look as bad from the driver's cockpits as I think it does from the TV cameras, but still definitely pouring here in Suzuka. So far, no sign of it letting up, as here comes Dougie Falcons to the line. We'll see what he can do. The lap is still valid here. What does he produce? It's a 140.211 from the Aston Martin. Now, is that a stellar piece of driving, or is this the track maybe getting a little bit better? Either way, that is a very, very strong time compared to what else we've seen as an AlphaTauri with no front wing in the hairpin. Who is that? It has to be Yaya, and it is.
Very unfortunate to find yourself with no wing. Legend has not been able to keep a valid lap here, as Jagsol will push through a 39.936. My eyes deceiving me a little bit there for a minute. 29 would be very impressive in these conditions, though. Sindako, 40.087. Can anybody go sub 140 here and catch that Red Bull?
Well, with how things are progressing, I think most people will be sub 140 by the end of the session. The track definitely getting somewhat better. Maybe just a dry line starting to form a little bit, and that'll be helping. The XTXP really struggling here. He's had a lock up into turn 1, gone wide, and now he's just letting people by, I think, by going off into the gravel. But really struggling in that Alpine today in a reserve capacity, of course.
Pro to go coming through into the hairpin. The hard braking left-hander, of course, and now 40.760 is what he will be looking to improve on. We'll see a split in a few moments as he pushes through down into Spoon. It's very, very common to see these drivers chain laps on the wet condition tires.
Yeah, I think the risk you run there is that maybe if we do see intermediates at any point, you don't want to be out there for too long. But at this moment in time, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see people start chaining laps together. Dayson is one of those drivers right now. He's only on a 141.8, and we expect him to be one of the fastest drivers here tonight, given his form so far this season. But nothing happening for the Williams in the wet, but plenty of time still left in the session, and he is going for change run, as is Azir, both of whom were sort of two of the first out of the garages.
A lot of interesting situations unfolding here in the qualifying. We saw Protogo bash the wall, but he still improved to 5th. XTXP is taking it easy in this car right now.
Trixam 145.383, and XTXP no front wing. You know, like you say, just he's really struggling. I don't quite know what, you know, everyone else has got. Maybe he didn't, you know, want to put on a full wet setup. Maybe there's something in the race. Maybe he's gone for, you know, a slightly more risky setup, and it's not paying off right now. But whatever it is, that Alpine is really, really struggling. That's one thing that can be said for sure. And as we look for anyone who's flying, it looks like there's a Williams coming up to the line. It's going to be Dayson. It looks like he might be on for an improvement this time around, unless he's dropped it through the final sector. He's not full throttling yet, trying to be a little bit, you know, cautious, but it is a 140.327, so it does move him up into P4, much more where you'd expect to see the young Brit, but plenty of time.
Legend pushing, things ramping up in the session. Across the line now, the Aston Martin. P14 of 43.213. Right, Nash pushing out of the hairpin in the McLaren. Vincent Nyqvist on an invalidated run. Genji also on an invalidated run. Jason pushing.
Titan Ash as well. He's pushing through in the McLaren into the final sector now. The two Ferraris as well. Vincent and Genji both on invalidated run. Titan Ash, he is still valid here as he comes through 130R and will completely flat through there, even despite the conditions. A bit of a lock up into the Casio triangle for the McLaren, but we'll see what sort of lap time he's got. He's not set one yet, and with just under 6 minutes to go, he needs this to be a good one, and it is. The 139.522. That's 4/10 faster than anyone else tonight. And he's just been waiting to pounce, or the track now is at its most optimal, and it's only going to get better from here.
Very solid run there. Cotter's right now on his way into Spoon. The Alfa Romeo yet to set a time here on the timing tower. Azir has just taken a 5-place grid penalty after a collision with Vincent Nyqvist.
You don't want to be taking those. Obviously, that negates any sort of qualifying now. Even if he gets, you know, P6, he's going to be all the way down in 11th place. So, you know, those kind of things. And right now he's in 11th, so he'll be dropping down to 16th, and that really makes things difficult. And especially if we see these conditions carry on into the race, we're not going to see any easy overtakes. You know, Suzuka not exactly renowned for easy overtakes, as there's Vincent Nyqvist. Speaking of one of those involved in that incident, he's off at the hairpin. Looks like there's damage, potentially just letting other drivers through. As Yags currently P2 on the time attack. Well, he's just dropped his lap. So he's going to go again in the Red Bull by the looks of it, as he just drops it coming into the Casio triangle. And he is going again, but not happy with that run, it would seem.
We have Yeah flying right now. Genji is on an out lap. Ooh, big drift here coming from Yeah. He is in the grass on the inside now of Spoon, and Azir has retired the car in the Casio Triangle.
Yeah, late mistakes. Never ever want to see those from drivers in qualifying because it just knocks your confidence. The last thing you remember from qualifying is that mistake. That's the last thing that you did in the car. And Lazier pulled off to the, well, he's, out there, and well, his car's gone now. I don't think that will have held up XTXP, who's coming through on his fly. Yet to set a lap time. Cotters is on the intermediates in the pit lane. We'll see whether he comes out on that tire. 141.8 from XTXP. He's been struggling, but luckily for him, he's finally got a time down on the board. Not the fastest, but puts him ahead of a couple of other drivers. And Cotters is out on the inters. So is this the call from the Alfa Romeo garage?
Very bold, and it could very well work out for them here as we have Yagsol pushing out of Spoon, looking for an improvement. We'll see what the split is as he comes into Sector 3. He's dropping throttle as he comes to the line.
I'm very interested to see how these inters work out for Cotters, but we do have flyers elsewhere on tracks. In Dark, who's validated his run. Kai is flying in the Alfa Romeo. Protogo's just started one in the Williams.
Things are going to be very intense for this race, given how this qualifying has been a major shuffle. Our championship leader is currently 5th, and we know that he has some great pace to fight with this grid.
There's been another instant yellow flag. I think it's just a slow moving car. The Alpine of X6P just letting people by. It is as Kai comes through. As we're seeing a couple more green compounds pop up in that timing tower. Dougie Falcons, Yaya there in the pit lane. Kai appears to have dropped his run. He went very slowly through 130R.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what happened there. I assumed he dropped it. Trick Sam, 40.552. He comes through on the wets.
And not much seems to have changed in the weather. I'd say it's raining slightly less, but there's still a whole host of standing water here on track. But there are more people out.
Is flying, but I think he invalidated on the exit to begin because he is with a red track map at the moment. So this lap will not stand. I'm curious to see what the split will be. Protogo now goes 4th quickest. Coming into Sector 2. Well, it's hard to find a delta when Cotters has, of course, not set a time. But I do think there might be a little bit more pace on the intermediate compound tires right now, and we'll find out surely when Dougie Falcons or Yaya begin their runs.
Cotters was about equal with XTXP on his first sector there, and I don't know whether XTXP is pushing. He's definitely not now. He had a problem coming out of the second Degnar, but it doesn't seem that that tire is awful right now. We're at the crossover point, and as things get drier, as Yaya is completely stopped into the hairpin, I think he's going to get moving again. I think he's just letting go flyers by as Legend goes off, and Genji calling it in the pit lane, I think. Dougie Falcons is going to be our first indicator of the intermediate's true pace and what they've got, although Cotters could go around again, of course, but let's see what his time is. Well, he's nearly put it in the pit wall there, so it's definitely struggling for grip. Needs to stay on that line. It would have been a 141.8 from Cotters, but again, he might not have been pushing for that second half of the lap. Dougie Falcons, well, this is his last shot. He's currently P6. It's a good lap time already. What does he have left in the tank? And on these inters, again, hugging that dry line, seems to be sliding just a little bit of aquaplane here. Doesn't have all the grip he would want, but can he wrestle this car around? Maybe there is still pace. If you could just, struggle it out. He is just drifting into those puddles, and you don't want to be doing that on the intermediates, but he's made his way through the S's, probably the most tricky section of track to get through if you're on the wrong tire in these sort of conditions. But again, straying from the line here strikes me as a little risky, and I imagine as a result, probably just a little bit of a mistake, and Again, just lack of tire grip, but again, wrestling the car through. He is doing well so far in this Aston Martin. But how far can these tires take him up the timing tire, if at all?
Very, very important to... Oh, he almost slipped off the curb there coming out of Spoon.
Well, here is where we're going to get a real sense of what it's like. Is he down on his previous best time? Yes, he is. Almost half a second. And this could see him fly, maybe not into provisional pole, but the front row is looking very likely as long as he can get it through the Casio triangle. Yaya as well. We've got to watch out for him. Sliding it through the final corner now comes Dougie Falcons, and it is P2. Very, very nicely done. Read the situation beautifully. Yaya's up as well by not quite as big of a margin, but again, still looking, maybe get himself inside the top 10. And if the race is to start like this, well, however the race will start, it doesn't matter because of qualifying and wet conditions means that everyone will have free tire choice, of course, as he comes through the final corner here. And what is it to the line? It's P9, 2.5 tenths found, most of that in the final sector. So a nice improvement there for the AlphaTauri to move him up a couple of spots.
Wow, what a qualifying. What a qualifying. Things still very tight, even with the rain, and things even tighter with these intermediate drivers coming through. We saw Dougie Falcons get himself into the front row with the intermediates. A very, very good run there from him. Narrowly missing out on pole position, and we'll take a look at the classification in just a moment. What a wild, wild race. Look at this. Tight Nash, the South African in the McLaren on pole position. Fastest time of the session, it was a 39.522. Dougie Falcons, the Brit in the Aston Martin on the intermediate compound tires, precisely 1/10 on the rear of him, and they'll start together on the front row with Yagsol in the Red Bull. 39.936. He is within 4/10 in the entire grid. Very tight there, especially through the midfield as we come in. Azir taking an unfortunate 5 grid place penalty that will slot him back into rear end of this grid. What a lineup we are seeing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And great read there from, like, just get onto those intermediates at the right time. We'll see whether we have that again, but as we load into the session, it's looking very, very dry here at the race start. And well, this presents an interesting challenge because what tire do you start the race on? Again, if there's rain forecast on the horizon, maybe you want to go onto the mediums to try and get yourself to that rain. Maybe it's forecast to be very soon. So in that case, go on the sots to, you know, maybe risk a little bit more early pace and all that. But as we wait for everyone to load in, it's, you know, a big decision for the drivers. Any engineers, I'm sure that some of them will be working hard to, you know, communicate an effective strategy here. They got 20 seconds to do so. But until then, it's just a patient wait for that run down into turn 1.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see how all of these racers fare going immediately from the wet conditions to the dry conditions. It's going to be an adjustment. I'm sure it's going to be a welcome adjustment, but it may not be the best thing to have to get up to speed right away into a race like this. We have 18 drivers on the grid today. It's Tight Nash and Dougie Falcons on the front row, and they are starting on different tires here, George. Tight Nash on the softs, Dougie on the mediums, so immediately we're seeing that front row on different strategies, and what a shuffle it really is. We have 8 drivers on softs, and then we have the remaining 10 drivers on medium compound tires here in this campaign, and Yagsol in the top 3 also on the soft compound tires.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see that sort of split there. And then also, one thing that might be different between them is who went for the wet setups for qualifying and who's risked it on a dry setup. You know, you had the likes of XTXP, you know, I mentioned him a lot of times. There's, oh my god, Genji's just slammed into the wall. Coming out of turn 4, I think that is, in the S's. Luckily for him, no damage on that car, and I don't think you can retire the car on the formation lap, but if you can, I think he would have just done it there. It was a huge slam into the wall. But going back to what I was saying, dry setups, wet setups, depends if we're going to see rain on the horizon in this race as to what I'm sure their decisions will have been influenced by. But yeah, maybe some people who struggled there in qualifying, some people you expect higher. Maybe Dason, a lot of people will be disappointed, I'm sure, as they've lost channel points as he's not on pole again. But maybe he's gone for a dry setup here and just didn't have that pace. Whereas maybe a few of the guys ahead of him, did have that wet weather setup. But it could have just been wet weather pace. But we've got Titan Ash on the softs leading us on pole with Dougie Falcons alongside him on the mediums. And again, we saw him have a great tyre choice in the qualifying. We'll see whether this has been another great strategical play. On the second row, it's Yaxel on the sods, Sindarko on the mediums, joined by Dason, championship leader in fifth, who's got his teammate alongside him, Pro to Go. He's on the sods, so the Williams doing a split strategy there. Then Vincent starts seventh with Kai alongside him, both on the sods. That's the Alfa Romeo in eighth. Yaya starts ninth with Trick Sam rounding out the top 10 again, both of those on the mediums. Noel Carmen also on the yellow walled compound with Big Tabina alongside him on the sots. Then it's Psycho, Cordes, and XTXP from 13th to 15th, all on the mediums. Genji starts 16th on the sots, and he's just had an incident on the formation lap with the wall. Hopefully he can improve upon that by the time we get to lap 1. Then Legend in 17th for Aston Martin on the mediums, and Azir after the grid penalty looking to make some places back up on the softs in 18th and subsequently last on tonight's grid.
Sindako also having an issue there in the formation lap. 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Japan. We're here in Suzuka. It is time to go racing, and we are away. The soft runners looking to get early positions here. Dougie Falcons will be under immediate threat as we come into turn 1. It's already wheel-to-wheel for the two Alpines, and the two Williams. And well, XTXP, speaking of Alpines, very tight with the McLaren. Trick Sam, they're still wheel-to-wheel. Vincent and Kai are battling. Very intense racing as we come up through the S's. Kai is leading through on Vincent, and there's a big snap coming out of the Ferrari. He gets things caught, but there's even more going on behind. Who is that? Psycho has slid around. Both the Mercedes are not in good shape, and the Ferrari is there as well as XTXP. Azir, not sure if there was damage. Azir now, 12th position for him. Everybody trying to find their way in this grid. The tire shuffle is going to be so interesting to see on this opening lap. All of these are going to be very fresh tires as it was a wet qualifying. Titan, Dougie, Yagsul, your top 3 right now here off the line. Still everyone holding station. Sindako, Protogo, and Dason through 6.
Yeah, going back to that incident there, that snap you saw from Vincent, I think it might have been contact from behind from Psycho, spun the Mercedes around, and then Noel went into his team. I think Genji got caught up in all of that as well. So sort of a Constantina effect there, very, very unfortunate. And I'm sure stewards will have a look at it, but not really anyone at huge fault. Vincent, well, he's gained 1 place back already on the big Tabina there, down into the Casino Triangle, and he's back into the points already, but he'll still be disappointed.
Turbina there, he had Azir looking up his left-hand side, and there was a bit of contact fronts to rears, nearly a crash, I have to say. Everyone very fortunate to come out of that one. Noel Carlman, Psycho, exchange Genji's there as well. He's looking to take both Mercedes. This is very, very touch and go. There was a touch of contact, and Titan Ash, the race leader, has had an issue here through in the S's. That is massive. The race leader has just dropped through this field, and now he has the Mercedes hunting him down.
Yeah, Azir's gone off as well as Titan Ash. Psycho comes through. Does Noel fight him around the outside of Dunlop as well? This will give Noel the inside into the first Tech and Genji, well, that's ambitious as he looks up the inside, and well, he's found him in the Ferrari. They're still side by side. Titan might be able to go late on the brakes into the hairpin, and he does just that here. The McLaren lunging for the inside and just about gets through. But my, I'm surprised all 3 of them are still doing well. And speaking of McLaren, Vincent.
Oh, Protogo. Oh my god, he started drifting through Spoon. There was a touch of contact. He's gone into the wall. He's got major damage. He's come back on the track through into fast movers. Oh, this race has really come undone here on the first couple of laps of racing. No doubt. Absolutely no doubt. Trick Sam, Vincent, they're coming into the chicane. Vincent holding ahead in 7th. Yeah,
a lot of contact at certain points there. Psycho, Titan Ash. I think there might have been an incident through into the Casio triangle. It might just be people shuffling around for positions. Pro to go missing the end plate. Is he going to come into the pits here for a new front wing? He is in.
Azir, Psycho, drag racing down into turn 1 right now. It's going to be the AlphaTauri on the inside as we push through the long right-hander. He is going to take that position. Softs over mediums at the moment.
Everything's starting to calm down just a tad here as we get through onto lap 3, but it was a very, very dramatic start to this race.
32.029, fastest lap of the race as Genji takes 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Position gains have been major.
Yeah, most people have made, at least one position, with many having made a lot. And XTXP, I mentioned him on the formation lap. Well, whether it's setup related, running a dry setup, or just taking advantage of all of these incidents, he's up 5 places, as is Legend there in the Aston Martin. Also worth noting, Kai up 4 places in the Alfa Romeo and doing very well right now to stick to Sindarko. Wouldn't be surprised if he got this move done soon. DRS will help him as well. Down into turn 1, Sindarko won't have it. Does the Alfa Romeo have something here? Well, he's got fastest lap. He's burning away some ERS, and here he goes up the inside as easy as you like. Sauce versus the mediums, early days in the race. But that strategy so far proving very, very strong here as he breezes on by the Haas, and Dason's there just behind Sindarko. And he didn't have the brilliant start to this race. His teammate, well, he got a much better launch off the line with the softs. Where it's going now, obviously, having pitted and is way, way behind the rest of the field.
Just taking a hard look here. Sorry about the delay in my audio. You take a look at this midfield, you can see Trick Sam, Big Turbina just dancing in and around that 1 second range. XTXP as well. There is a train from 6th position all the way down to 12th, and Dason right now hunting down the Haas of Sindarko through 130R. Things are tight. Yags on the rear of Dougie, not pulling the trigger just yet, either driver.
Dason, I would not be surprised to see him pull something out of the bag here, as there's a yellow flag behind. I'm not sure what that's for because no one seems to be stopped. Dougie Falcons loses lead of things, and Dason takes P4 as well. Yags, well, he got fastest lap. He now takes lead of the race. Dason's up to P4, but very wide, and Sindarko goes back through as Genji's out of the race. And do we see a safety car or a VSC as a result of it? It doesn't look like we will.
Well, I'll tell you something.
The car's already disappeared.
That instant was the worst instant you could find for the Scuderia Ferraris, because at that moment when Genji crashed, Vincent Nyqvist spun through turn 1. And he is now in 13th position.
Jason as well. Very uncharacteristic mistake there from him. He had the move on Sindarko and then just ran wide through turn 1. Meaning the Haas goes straight back through, and all of that fighting was probably Yaya right into the thick of things as well. The AlphaTauri in 6th right now. We'll see what he could do here. Pro to go. And Psycho exchanges. Psycho, well, Psycho's facing the wrong way strip. He's in the grass coming out of turn 3.
That is not where you want to find yourself at all right now. Sindarko, Dason. Sindarko under threat. Dason making his presence known, but he's not doing anything drastic on the rear of that Haas on the inside or on the outside through 130R. He wants to keep things patient. He wants to utilize DRS. Yags, 30.550 for the fastest lap of the evening. And now Sindarko pushing. He's being hunted. Look at the battery. Look at the DRS now. Dason says outside. And he is going to take that position now. Sindarko will want to try and take it back as best as he can, but I think Dason's going to have it locked up this time around as Legend. Now he has gone round. The Aston Martin has been passed by. Noel Carlman, Vincent Nyqvist. Azir is coming, and we have a yellow flag sparked up as well. as I'm not sure if it was for that incident or perhaps another incident throughout in this grid.
Yeah, great work there from Daces to get through it. He's bringing out a great gap as well this time, so we'll see what happens. But also worth pointing out that Dougie Falcon's shift, he's on the mediums, but he's run away with the 2 soft runners with him. As there's a problem for Titan Ash, it would seem, coming out of Dunlop. He's gone off the track and flagged the yellow flag, but back on track, no damage on that car. But yeah, go back to Dougie Falcons. He's ahead of Dason by just over 5 seconds here. And with that in mind, it's a great place to be for the Aston Martin here. He had a great call in qualifying on that intermediate, put in that final run. And now he's absolutely breezing through. He'll have DRS on Yaxol, both of whom are burning battery to stay in lead of things, but they won't mind. They've got a whole host of time behind them, empty space, and they've got Kai in between them and Dason. So when the medians start to sort of come to life, Dougie will probably take Yaxor, and Dason will probably take Kai. But by that point, there won't be anyone. His teammate's gone off as well, Striff. Just up the road, coming out of turn 4. Both Alpha Tauris in the same lap. Luckily for Azir, there's no damage on that car. But the IR, obviously, like you said, not quite as fortunate as there is a Titan. There's some drivers really struggling. Again, this could be as a result of potentially using wet setups in dry conditions, but
I had literally just heard that. As I was on with the AlphaTauris, I heard the car under the camera where we were stationed, if you will. You could hear that car sliding through the gravel trap. Right now, Dougie Falcons, the mediums versus the softs, DRS, no battery in utilization at the moment. This is going to be another changeover for lead of the race. Dougie Falcons back in charge. A little bit of a love tap. Oh my, coming out of the Red Bull. That's Dougie Falcons' round. No.
Well, I doubt he's thrilled about that in any sense. Well, getting it spun back round, but he is going to rejoin. Well, he's 7th right now, but Cotters, Noel, and there's me as well. As Cotters, well, Cotters has had a mistake. He's come off the track. Driver's really struggling here. Azir's gone round. Dougie Falcons has spun again, presumably as a result of hot tires. This is his strategy and his race. Very much struggling. He nearly hit his teammate as well on rejoin there. Cotters, well, he's gone round again here in the Alfa Romeo, and he's struggling to get his car restarted. His tires are so hot. You could just tell by the way he's struggling to get it moving in a straight line. But these guys are really struggling to just get to grips with the conditions here, and the close racing through the S's is not boding well for anyone here, as Yaya, Titan, Azir all into the pit lane. And Azir, this is going to be a huge stop. It's a 5-second penalty, a front wing change, and tires, of course. Actually, it would have been a 5 second. I think it was a double stacking that held him there.
This has been such a dramatic race for some of these racers. Absolutely. Absolutely. As it... So many of these drivers have been facing issues, most notably through that first sector.
Yeah, and I think a lot of issues. There's just another one. I think it's Titan Ash again. He's just come out of the pit lane and he's already missing a left end plate here. He has not been favouring that Dunlop curve, turn 7. He's really been struggling through there. Noel Coleman on Big Tabina. They're coming through the S's section. There's another yellow flag. I think that's Azir again. It is. Oh my goodness, he's facing the wrong way. And hopefully Noel and Big Tabina don't go side by side through here, because they're going to find themselves greeted by an Alpha Tauri who has made his way off the track. And well, that could have been disastrous, but thankfully all is well and good for the pair of them. And Noel looking like he's carrying a lot more speed there through the second Degnar, but not able to capitalize on it. Maybe a lunge onto the inside of the hairpin. Thinks about it. Gives Big Tabina a bit of a scare as well as the Red Bull goes wide to allow space, but carries the speed through. Noel struggling to carry that speed through. Now using ERS to catch back up, and I don't think that's going to be a move into Spoon, maybe late on the brakes, but actually goes early to just avoid any collision there with the Red Bull. As there goes Titan Ash calling it in the pit lane, and after the struggles he's had, not too surprising, he joins Genji in the retirees. Just 2 cars out of this race so far on lap 10 of 27. And he goes Noel, DRS and ERS, and well, he'd almost made the move before they got onto the straight, but he just breezes by down the start-finish straight. There is nothing Big Tabina could do about that. He does have an advantage in the battery department. As Azir, well, that's also a retirement in the pits, I do believe, and as he's unfortunate enough to come off on the start-finish straight, he hasn't. So Azir joins Titan Ash and Genji, and was actually a lap down, it would seem, on Titan. So retires and finishes 17th.
Been a very intense race now as Azir leaves the session. Protego has retired the car that is in the pit lane.
Well, that's 4 now out of this race. It is difficult to come back here, and we've had a few incidents and they've not caused safety cars, so I think that'll probably demoralize some people here. But we've got 17 laps left, plenty of time for a safety car to really inject some close battling once again, and there are still people hunting each other down. Quarters on the rear of Dougie Falcons. Obviously, Dougie Falcons, well, judging by qualifying, judging how he started this race, definitely Aston Martin, as he has a little bit of a struggle there, as there's another yellow flag up. What is this for? I think it might just be Protego's car rejoining the track. There's Big Tabina, Vincent, they are calling it. They are into the pit lane, and they're going to spark a few changeovers here, I think. They started on the softs. Now that means that Yangzol and Kai will be thinking about doing the same thing very soon, you would imagine. And so far, those who started on the mediums have done quite well for themselves. Stiff, you've got, it was, I think, 10 started on the mediums, and you've got, what is that, 8 there from 3rd to 10th. And that means they've had a lot more better success rate than those on the softs. With the exception, of course, of Yangzol and Kai.
Otter is still with Dougie, and it's been a very, very up and down race for Dougie Falcons. He was leading it for quite some time.
Everything's starting to calm down a little bit. Trixam really pushing to catch up with Sindaco here as Yags does come in. Kai will follow. Trixam, he's pretty much emptied the battery. He was on 0% at one point there. Just to catch back up, will get DRS on the Haas, but wonder whether it's been worth it for him. But we'll see how that develops over the next few laps. Obviously now, he will sort of be able to stay there a bit easier, and has equalized as well on ERS as Sindaku has to use a little bit here. Yags, where does he come out? He was in lead. I think he'll come out just behind Legend. I think it's going to be side by side into turn 1, and Legend just able to carry that momentum through that Yags exiting the pits doesn't have. Kai stays behind him in 8th now, and we'll see what sort of tyre advantage these fresh mediums have over the old ones. It will be a 1-stop, I think, for everyone here. Well, for mostly, but you could do a 2-stop, of course, and the likes of Yaya and Saika will have to.
Little birdie in my ear telling me that Trixam is currently running very, very well due to his mechanic and the setup of the car today. Yagswell right now, is he going to get Legend here? It's crucial that he makes it through here and gives himself an element of separation Legend. In a very good running position right now. Yags, of course, that fresh tire. He is poised for a solid, well, at the least, a podium today.
Yeah, very, very strong start to the race from him. And, well, it goes. There's a bit of a connection issue, at least on my end. Hopefully the drivers didn't have that. It lean overtake from where they're standing. Legend chopping in and out, but he has lost the position to Yags there. And, well, that's one down for the Red Bull on the fresh mediums. But he needs to extend these tires to the end of this race. That won't be too hard, but he doesn't want to be fighting too much. XTXP is next on his list. And, well, he was struggling big time in qualifying, but hasn't had too many troubles in the race. In fact, quite the opposite. He's been doing very well strift since the lights went out. I think Dougie Falcons might have just had another problem. There was a yellow flag sparked up, and he lost the position to Codders as Vincent Nyqvist spins around. And it's been a bad race for the Ferrari. Not just Vincent, but Genji as well. The first of the retirements.
Yeah, it really hasn't been their day, and it was almost in unison that those issues began over at that squad, as we saw Genji retire the car as Vincent started to have a downhill journey.
Yeah, well, he's already caught XTXP. And the Alpine driver, we'll see just what he's able to do here. But it won't be a lot, because there's fastest lap, there's DRS, and there's the overtake for the Red Bull. And he just opens and closes his DRS wing. I don't know whether that was saying goodbye to XTXP or if he was waving to us at home. But either way, the Red Bull is pretty thrilled with how he's performing, and who wouldn't be? He's really charging through. He's 5th right now. Not a huge gap to the leaders either, and with pit stops coming in as Vincent's crashed. I think he's crashed on the entrance to the pit lane, and there's a safety car. This is very, very interesting. In real life, I think the pit lane will be closed. Where is that Ferrari? Hopefully, Yaya will see it before it despawns. He won't, which is a shame. I don't know if there's any debris left, but judging by where that dot was on the mini-map, Jeff, I think he's plowed it straight into the pit wall.
I think you're right. Safety car deployed. Dason, Sandako. Oh, this is really hurting the Yags. Really hurting the Yags, Soul.
Yeah, really not ideal for him. The only advantage he has here is, well, soft steady end. I think it will work. It just won't be particularly comfortable for the first few laps if they're going to reserve, or the last few laps if they're going to fight. But it is going to be soft tires by the looks of it for everyone who's coming in, and who wouldn't? But Yags will take lead of things, and he is going to lead a huge amount of laps this race. I don't know what he's going to come away with at the end of it, though, because now, as Kai, he's going to follow through as well. He was pitting with Yags. For Yags, though, he's got a car between him and his biggest rival on track now, so every cloud has a silver lining, as they say. But Dason, championship leader, and, well, a slightly disappointing qualifying for him. Obviously 5th. Very, very respectable. But now sits 2nd, fresh softs. And he won't have to do too much fighting if he can get Yagsol right on the start here.
Nine seconds in penalties for Kai right now. 3 seconds for Yaya. 3 seconds for Psycho. Fastest lap, a 30.4 coming out of Yagsol in that Red Bull at the front of this race. And of course, with the soft tires now being an element to the end, I wonder whether or not Dason will have it in him to take a quick lead over Yags and maybe bring himself some more wins this season. There's been an issue now. Trick Sam has gone off circuit. And he is going to drop back a number of positions.
Well, this restart is going to be very, very important for absolutely everyone here. But, you know, those who have, you know, fallen down, we said earlier that those drivers who have retired could have come back with a safety car. This does give a second opportunity to the likes of, you know, Dougie Falcons. A prime example of this, was fighting for what looked like a very strong case to potentially be a race win. And he's one of 3 drivers who's taken a victory so far this season here in Tier 2. Now he's fighting down at the bottom for very, very few points. But is there a charge left in the Aston Martin? Is he able to recompose himself, as Trick Sam is going to come in? And so is Big Tabina. And it's a new front wing for the McLaren. And Big Tabina just getting a tyre change. He's not going to lose any positions as a result. In fact, he's actually gained one. But an interesting call just for 1 lap fresher softs. But why not, I guess? I doubt they had more than 1 or 2% on them.
The tire strategies to the end of this race are really going to get really interesting for the medium runners, I think. And that 9 seconds for Kai, not going to help anything. You have Sindako, who started this race in 4th. He has held station in 4th.
I mean, the tires, they really are going to be make or break here. But it all depends on how many positions Yags and Kai can hold on to at the start here. Because there's no point of having tires that are way better at the end of things if you're down in 12th place because you've been overtaken by everyone on the softs. I don't think they'll lose that many positions, of course, but the soft runners here, you know, the podium might not be on for them anymore just because of the places they lose and the time they lose to those positions on the restart. But plenty of time left in this race. There'll probably be about 10 laps left after the safety car comes in, which it might do this lap depending on whether it's going to let Psycho catch up or not. He's going to catch up soon, but he's got to come through the hairpin and then charge down a couple of straights.
Another lap around. This has been a very long safety car.
And again, you know, it is Psycho at the back there that's sort of extending it, of course. Not his fault, because obviously this is what we love to see for a driver. A bit of an opportunity at redemption after maybe a poor start to the race. But it gives him the opportunity, but that means everyone else has to sit behind the safety car for 1 more lap. And well, for the soft runners, this is great news. For the medium runners, it's 1 less lap that they could be overtaken in, but it is ultimately a bad thing for them.
Curious to see what some of these drivers have to say after the race today, if we speak to any of our podium finishers. Safety car really shuffling things up, and it was a long time coming, I think, to say the least, after so many of these drivers struggled in tonight's race.
Well, speaking of struggling, Kai, he's dropping through the field like a stone. He's come off wide through Dunlop, and he's managed to take a position back from Big Tabina. It doesn't look like there's been a problem in terms of the game. They were side by side, but mistakes under safety car. The medium runner was in 3rd. I said it was about how many positions they lose on the safety car restart. I didn't anticipate they would lose them under the safety car.
Those lights are now going to go out surely, and there they are.
Yeah, and I'm sure everyone more than thrilled to get this racing back underway. But once we do get back underway, everyone will, of course, be right up and close with one another. Yagsol leading things off. He will be on the mediums, of course. When will he decide to go here? Well, he's floored it. He's put ERS on. Dace is floored it as well. No one really caught out here. Noel Carmen already pressuring Sindaku down in towards turn 1. No exchange for either things just yet between Dace and Yags. Noel isn't able to get through. Legends is looking on the inside of XTXP. Just catches the curb wrong. Manages to save it. And Manager's got the position as well as they come together. Legends is off the track. Swoops across it as well. He loses out a whole host of positions there. Drops down to 8th. There's no positions swapped in the top 4. But my, I'm surprised that didn't lead to a bigger incident. And Legend, well, he's done well not to hit another car there. He is going slowly through Dunlop. Big Tabina looking to find space. There isn't any. And almost opens himself up to Yaya. But there really isn't a lot of space to overtake through Dunlop into the Degnars. As Big Tabina under pressure from Yaya in the sister car. But again, nothing happening. No exchanges yet. Dayton very close to Yagswall, though.
Yeah. Still on this exit of the hairpin, pushing that battery right now. Big Turbina really holding him off with everything he's got at his disposal in this Red Bull. As you mentioned, Dason hunting down Yagswall. No DRS for a few laps yet, but it is going to be coming into 130R. No battery in utilization. He has the slipstream, however. Sindako a little bit further back. Does he have enough of a run here? He doesn't look up the inside into the chicane. Oh, a little bit of contact. Everybody getting loose here. Psycho, Big Turbina, Yaya, as well as Trick Sam all involved. Dason now will move through ahead of Yagswall to take lead of this race. Sindako within half a second.
Yeah, Noel's right
here.
there.
Any mistakes and you're out of a podium here. Nobody's got penalties. You are within close proximity for the end of this race.
Yeah, the only thing I can see happening here is Dason just sort of leaving Yags behind, the mediums versus the softs, of course. And well, Yags doing well to stick with him right now, but we'll see whether that changes over the next few laps as Yags using a little bit of ERS there just
Dougie.
to push forward.
Dougie Falcon's looking for a potential move on XTXP here. He's looking for a switch back up the inside. He has Cotters there on his inside. I don't know what happened there between the pair of them, and Legend might have a better idea as he is on the rear now looking for slipstream on his teammate. Dougie holding 6th position. Legend is going to be there on the outside. Cotters drops back as we come into Spoon, and that is going to be a very good move from him to just drop on the rear of that. He doesn't want to get caught up, but now Cotters has gone around and he has gone into the wall. He gets things spun back around. The Mercedes takes evasive maneuvers, and that entire front wing is gone on the Alfa Romeo, and I cannot believe the restart that we have had.
Cotters, unfortunately, not sure what happened into the hairpin. He definitely hit into the rear of Dougie there as he was looking for a move, but nothing really surfaced from that. He didn't gain anything, and well, now down in 12th, Alfa Romeo look to be like they will be pointless at the end of this one as Trick Sam and Psycho exchange. Psycho getting through into 10th as a retirement in the pits, and XTXP is off in the grass. Is there a front wing on that car? There's not. And the Alpine, he struggled in qualifying. He was doing so well in the race. The safety car restart, though, has him all the way down. As Dason, what has happened to the championship leader? He is facing the wrong way in Dunlop. He is on the inside. He has to wait for almost everyone to come through. And now he's not even, he's just waiting for a little bit of tire temperatures. There's X6V. I think he was waiting for him, sees he's got no front wing and thinks, you know what, I'd rather be in front of you than behind you, and goes about his merry way. But points still on the table for the championship leader, but it might just be a singular point rather than multiple.
This has been an explosive race, to say the least, Unicorn. It has been wild from start to where we are right now. We aren't even at lap 21 just yet. Psycho on the rear of Big Turbina hunting down the Red Bull.
Well, you just have to look at what's happened on the safety car restart as there goes Psycho. Like you mentioned, through on the outside of 130R. As Trixam almost rear ends the Red Bull, but just about gets his car stopped in time. And meanwhile, up at the front, Noel looking at Sindarko. I don't think he's going to find it, and he won't. Does anything happen in the lower points paying positions? Itabina looking for a wrench, doesn't find it, but one person, we mentioned it, safety cars do give everyone an opportunity. Dougie Falcons, what a restart he's had. His championship rival, he's P2 right now. Yagswell's leading, he's in third, just 5 points behind him, so he will leapfrog ahead of him. But Dayson, championship leader, the pair of them are going to gain a whole host of points on him. And this is potentially a very, very important race in that title charge for Yagswell, for Dougie, and of course Dayson as well. Sindarko too, and Noel is in there as well. He's a few points behind, but a podium here, the second of the season, would be very, very important. And it spices up a division that's already been very, very hotly contested, with the exception of Dayson, who now finds himself outside of the points by 17 seconds.
Yeah, that was a very, very bad crash.
He might be able to get fastest lap here, and he might be able to catch Kai as well, because Kai has 9 seconds of penalties. So there is potential there for Dayson to get 2 points if he gets fastest lap, and of course P10. Yagswell doing very well to hold on to the lead of things here. As Noel, is he going to find a way past the Hasid down into turn 1 and gets close, but doesn't get close enough as Sindarko goes a little wide through turn 2. Does Noel take this open door? Sindarko comes across, Noel backs out to avoid the incident, and well, that's some nice racing between the pair of them there, but Noel really applying the pressure, and you can see Sindarko is starting to feel it.
A couple more exchanges further down the grid in that moment, but of course a very tight battle ensuing here between these two. Noel wanting to do everything he can to get through on the Italian.
There's a lot of great defensive driving going on. Legend is right on the rear of his teammate, the Dougie Falcons. He's fought to get to where he is, back to where he, well, almost back to where he was. And if there's, fighting up ahead, he could get back to, fighting for that lead. It all depends on how those tires are feeling at the end for the soft runners compared to Yagswell's older mediums.
Legend very tight with his teammate here, Dougie Falcons. That could be an issue for Dougie Falcons, as if I'm not mistaken, Legend is here in a reserve capacity tonight. Ooh, Sindarko deep through turn 1 again. A little bit of a wheel bang there. A little bit of a bump.
Yeah, and it's last few laps of the race, tensions running high. Everyone's going to be asking themselves, how many points can I get here? Because it is still close from that safety car restart. But all of this fighting, Yagswell, as his tires will slowly start to pendulum in favor of him. They should be feeling all right. Obviously, everyone's were preserved under safety car, but so the sauce should be feeling good. As Dayson, well, he finds fastest lap. He hasn't found enough time on Kai yet. He's got 4 laps to close that gap, but with fastest lap to his name, I don't know if he could do it. Kai needs to make a mistake or something for that, or pick up another penalty, etc. But this battle for P2, it's bringing the Aston Martins in. And Yagswell, well, he's laughing. No DRS for the cars behind him. And potentially his first race win of the season. And his third podium of the season as well.
Been a very explosive race. I've mentioned it already. To this point, 23 laps, about to be 24 laps now. I've loved it. I've actually loved it. And we've had spins. We had the rain qualifying.
Yeah, and that certainly had an impact here. As Sindarko again struggling out of turn 2. Noel not able to capitalize given the nature of those turns, but Sindaku's feeling pressure here. That, or he's just struggling with something, but...
Well, he can't struggle too much because he'll lose Yags.
Well, he's, in some respects, already lost him. He's fighting to keep up with that Red Bull, and the Red Bull's using a lot of battery, and Noel's still got a lot left in the tank. His battery very, very full. And well, that could come into play very nicely for him in the last few laps.
1 second now, the gap for Yags. Pushing out of the hairpin. Ooh, Noel getting a little bit anxious now. You can see him wanting to wrap through tight on that inside. He almost got a little bit too much of that inside.
And Sindaku, his lights blinking, 3% left in the tank. Noel, 40% more. So he is getting ready to really pounce here in the closing stages. And again,
here we go.
That tire wear.
Well, the train's been linked up. The train's been linked up as well. You've got Legend dancing around that 1 second range. Noel hasn't been able to push through on the Italian just yet. Sindaku has had a very good turn one. His best of the last 3, to say the least. He's still losing time, though. You can see him. He just has a little bit of an extra nudge in that car on the rear end when he pushes through this first sector. And that is where Noel is gaining about half a tenth every lap as we push through here. Not a lot of battery and utilization. Legend within 7/10.
Yeah, yellow flag. Psycho, he's out.
I can't believe it.
Oh my, trick Sam right into him. The McLaren has no front wing. And well, there's the points Dason was looking for. Provided he obviously makes it to the scene of the crash to get into, you know, the top 10 and finish the race. But late drama here in Suzuka. Noel still on Sindaku. And they're actually catching Yags a little bit. Batteries are being charged. Noel doing the opposite. He's pushing through. But my, oh my, 2 laps to go here. And everything's still very much to play for Sindaku. Blinking again here. He's used all of his battery. Does Noel go for it into the Casio triangle? No. He's going to wait. He's going to get DRS. But Sindaku's got that on Yags for here. And that's all he's really hopeful for from Yags. Is just using him for DRS to protect him from Noel. But he's got no ERS left in the tank. Is this the lap? The Mercedes finds his way through. It's not. He hasn't gone for it. He could have gone on the inside there. He's going to go on the inside now. What a move from the Mercedes. He sneaks by the Haas.
Wow.
Doesn't go for it into turn 1. Patience personified. Sneaks up the inside into turn 2. He knew Sindaku. He knew what he was going to do. He's watched him lap after lap since the safety car restart, and now finds himself in P2 with a battery advantage with just 1.5 laps to go. The Swede takes P2. Does he have it in him to use the battery advantage he's got over Yagswol? Are the tires, do they have enough left in it to go and get P1?
That's a beautiful move there. Sindaku, we've watched him lap after lap go a little bit deep through that turn. And Noel playing that patience. Noel could be in for a race win here. We are about to enter the final lap.
Yeah, here we go. No, he's done well. He's caught. He has emptied the tank, though, as has Yags. And, well, there's going to be no DRS. Sindaku drops another position. Legend has snuck through the Casio triangle, but back up to the front. Does Noel have anything left here to get the move? This really is his last chance. Sindaku drops again, but here we go. He looks on the inside. Yags lay on the brakes. Noel, he did this the lap before, and Sindaku, there's a little bit of contact between the two, and the Mercedes doesn't find a way past the Red Bull, but he's so close. Is there anything left here? They're gonna fight right to the end. They're coming up through the S's now. There's a couple of overtaking slots, maybe a lunge into the hairpin, maybe through 130i into the Casio triangle, but there really isn't a lot of hope left, as there's a problem for Yaya. He's having trouble. I think he might have got himself back on track there, but the leader thinks Sindaku, I don't know what's happened to him over the last few laps, and he's dropped off like a stone. He was on for a podium. He's now 5th with both of the Aston Martins ahead of him.
Red Bull versus Mercedes right now, flying through Suzuka, coming down through into the spoon curve right now. Yags just over half a second on the medium compound tires. Knoll hunting him down on the softs, and it's been a great exit for Yags here, pushing out. But of course, Knoll utilizing that overtake. He's not got any DRS in this lap left, in this race left. Yags pushing very well through 130R. I don't know if he's going to have any opportunity. It's all about this last chicane. It's all about the Casio triangle now. Knoll with a great push through here. Great exit, but it is going to be Yags to come through and take the checkered flag here in Japan ahead of Noel Karlman and Legend in his debut here as a reserve for the division. He comes through into third position. Dougie Falcons fourth. Sundako in fifth. It's Big Turbina sixth. Yeah. Now crossing the line in seventh. Kai coming through the Casio triangle now as the eighth driver on circuit. What a race finale.
Yeah, unbelievable there. The driving standards were so good. The action we got there from Tier 2 was really unbelievable. That safety car, it graced us with a brilliant race end. And I'm sure all of the drivers involved will be... Well, Sindaku might not be. Noel will maybe come away disappointed. Maybe we'll get the chance to speak to him in just a moment. But wheel-to-wheel racing is what we want to see. It's what the drivers want to be involved in. And yeah, so I'm sure... What a strategy from him. Staying out of those mediums. It looked like the safety car had really torn his position down. But in reality, it gave him the platform. Obviously, the mistake from Kai meant he wasn't there to challenge. Dayton as well, Span. And championship leader, well, he'll stay in that spot. But he won't be as far ahead as he was coming into this with a good result from, of course, Yags. Dougie Falcons as well scores a nice haul of points here. Worth pointing out as well, Legend, 17th to 3rd. A huge run from the Aston Martin.
Oh yeah, big time.
And I'm sure he's thrilled for that. And you see what he does, you know, in future races. But what a performance from him.
Very good race, and it was 3rd to 1st for Yags. We saw 11th to 2nd for Noel, and 17th, as you mentioned, to 3rd for Legend. Great racing from everybody. Trick Sam in 10th position will get an additional point. 29.363, the fastest lap of the race. Wow. Absolutely fantastic. Big shout out to Mr. Maxim B coming through into the chat. 6 gifted tier 1 subs. Thank you so much for the support, everybody viewing along with the streams. We're going to get interviews in just a moment's time, as well as a raid here in the Twitch F1 community. My name is Stryfium. Joining me is Unicorn, and this really was a thrilling campaign, from a wet qualifying to a dry race with its own long haul of dramatic events. I think that it was a stellar 27 laps of Suzuka.
Oh, absolutely. Those final few laps, they will not be forgotten soon. That was just the pinnacle. It's exactly what you want to see when you come into a race like this, whether you're a driver, a spectator, or us here in the commentary booth. We want to see that kind of drama. It's always exciting, always a joy to watch, and they've really nailed it there.
Gonna see if we can get ourselves some interviews at the moment. I do believe we have one on standby with our race winner. Okay. Alrighty, now we do have some interviews. Joining us is going to be Mr. Noel Karlman. Hello, and congratulations on a fantastic race finish. How are you feeling after this one in Suzuka?
Man, I don't even know. Lap 1, I was feeling down, right? I got collected. But yeah, safety car helped me massively. Right strategy to go to softs. I don't even know.
Big safety car in this race. You mentioned it helped you there in the end. Of course, this race up and down. How was it in the wet qualifying for you? Did that really kind of throw a wrench in the strategy for today?
Well, yeah, obviously. As I told you, I was desynced for my first lap, and I lost a lot of time there. And on my second leg, I didn't have a delta, and I didn't know where I was. And the intermediate versus full wets was tricky. Didn't know what to do, right? So I went to this wets, which was probably the wrong choice, to be honest. But I mean, not being in the front helped me this time.
Well, you definitely had an up and down dynamic race, but you found yourself on the podium to finish things out. Unicorn, any questions for Noel after this wild 27 lap race?
Well, Noel, just, a word on those last few laps, of course, that just, we obviously enjoyed them very much, but obviously you would have preferred to take P1. But just how fun is it to be in those wheel-to-wheel exchanges when points are on the line? It's, still plenty of time in the season left to have these important results. Just how fun was that, last few laps for you, with the overtake and trying to hunt down Yags for the win?
Okay, so safety car. Dyson didn't. Kai spun in safety car. Then after that, Dyson went into P1, spun. I was like, wait, I could actually get a really good. I could get good points here. Then it's like, then, man, Sidako had so good straight line speed, and he almost pushed me wide a couple of times. All fair though. I was yelling, I can't lie. Then I got past him, which with a little dive bomb into turn 2, I think it's called. But I didn't get the axle, which, yeah, kind of sad, but it is where it's still a good result from that lap 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Noel, congratulations. Not quite your first win, but another podium for you, and obviously it brings you a little closer to the top as well in the standings. So congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
That was Noel, everybody, and thanks to Noel for taking the time to interview. We're now going to chat with our race winner this evening. It is going to be the Red Bull driver of Yagswell. Hello, Yags, and welcome. Congratulations on a very hard-fought drive. You had a great battle of Dougie Falcons at the beginning of this race, and then things unfortunately didn't go his way. How are you feeling about this race overall?
Obviously I don't know what happened with Dougie. In my opinion, he broke a little bit early, and then I don't know, we unfortunately made contact. But yeah, if it was my fault, then I feel really bad. But near to the end, I had so much adrenaline running through my body, honestly. And also my wheel was almost coming off my desk near to the end when I was fighting off no, so that was also really stressful.
Well, it was a very, I imagine, stressful race there. What were your feelings once that safety car had come out? You had pitted, you were in a bit of a position, you had the medium tires that you had gone on to, and then everybody else was kind of in a position where they could get on these softs. How did that play out for you in your head?
Yeah, so I was debating with myself whether or not to pit onto the softs or just stay out, because my mediums were relatively fresh, about 6% when it started. So yeah, I decided to stay out because it's pretty difficult to overtake here if you just save your ERS for the DRS straight. So yeah, luckily it went my way, I guess.
Well, it was a great race for you and a great haul of points in the end. Of course, next week we move through to Silverstone, round 7. How does this race prepare you for that? Do you have a little bit of an extra boost in confidence? Is it going to make you prepare any harder? How are you looking for Silverstone ahead?
Oh yeah, that would for sure definitely gave me a lot of confidence for future races. And before the performance update, I was pretty strong at Silverstone, so hopefully I can get that back.
Well, it was a great race. Congratulations on the win, Yags. And of course, do you have any messages to the stream before we wrap things up?
Have a good day.
Have a good day. All right. Well, you as well, Yags, and thank you for taking the time to interview.
All right, thank you.
That was Yags, our race winner, everybody, for Red Bull tonight. Of course, that was a fantastic race. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope you did as well, George. It was a great time here in Suzuka. Got one more race yet this week, and that will be tomorrow for the Tier 1 racing action at 8 p.m. BST, 9 p.m. Central Europe, and 3 p.m. in the afternoon for any of those in the Eastern Daylight Time Zone. like myself here in Canada. And well, George, anything from you before we wrap things up for the evening?
Well, that's just a stunning race from Tier 2, and as always, the bar just gets set again. Tier 1 tomorrow, wrapping up our week here at Suzuka with the action we've had here, with the action we've had in the previous races. I'm sure that is one to look forward to. And then, of course, on to Silverstone, my back garden, as you like to call it. So very, very excited for that. But ladies and gentlemen, until next week, thank you all. Until tomorrow for Tier 1, of course. But until then, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.